Welcome to the Occult Rejects. In this episode, we got myself, obviously, and we got a couple other rejects with us today, and we even got Bennett joining us from Broadcasting Seeds. Today, I'll let everybody go around and introduce themselves. Lisa, what is going on? The Mad Scientist, how are you?
How are you? I am excited. When you sent me the notification on the title, I was like, this is going to be a killer episode. Can't wait to
No
talk
pun
about
intended.
The government cheat killer. Yep. Pun totally intended. So I'm really looking forward. Julia usually brings the heat. I love when she covers, especially serial killers or whatever. It's always a fun ride. So thank you so much for having me on and inviting me on.
Oh, of course. Thank you. I'm glad you can make it. And we got Brooke joining us as well tonight. What is going on, Brooke?
Hi, I'm happy to be here with the fellow rejects as well. I'm super excited to get into this topic.
Yes, definitely should be something interesting. Just with the name, you're like, what the fuck? Awesome. And thank you very much for joining us. And we got Jules from Greypilled Podcast. What is going on, my man?
What's going on, man? What's up, everybody? Jules, the Greypilled Podcast. You probably see me on here a lot. I'm more into the occult, esoteric realm of things, but I do love true crime and the parapolitical. So it's always fun to get in on these conversations. And I appreciate you inviting me, man. Y'all go find me on Patreon, patreon.com/Greypilled Podcast. You get a free sticker pack. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And for the other people who may not know who he is yet, I mean, even though he's been on the show a few times, he does cover occult stuff, and he does like specific topics. We've had him on for one of them. I highly suggest to go check out his channel. If you're into the occult, he does have stuff that's worthy of listening to. So thank you very much for joining us, Jules. I appreciate it. And we got Bennett from Broadcasting Seeds. What is going on, my man? I'm so happy you were able to join us today.
How is everybody? I appreciate you having me on. Again, Bennett Tanton from Broadcasting Seeds, broadcastingseeds.com. I pretty much talk about everything in the high strangeness realm and I would include true crime in that too, because some of that shit gets freaky. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and it's a pleasure to be here.
No, of course. No, thank you very much. I was just on your show recently. I had a blast, so I'm happy to have you on.
It was a good time for sure.
Oh, yeah. It was a good chat. Good chat. And finally, the guest of the hour and a half, Julia from Cosmic Beach. What is going on, Julia? Thank you.
What's up, Nick? I'm so excited for this one. Thanks for having me on to present this. It's going to be a blast. And obviously, I've covered similar topics like this before on Occult Rejects as far as program serial killers and the like. But this one I found on my own. This one did not come from the Program to Kill book. But I feel like if David McGowan would have known about this guy, he would have been in the book, because damn, there is a lot of connections with this guy to the whole Program to Kill blueprint. And you'll kind of see that as the presentation moves along. But so you look at this, Bennett. First comment of the night, ASMR channel. They want you to read them bedtime stories.
I mean, I don't believe them.
I've always been told that I should be doing a bedtime stories with Uncle Bennett.
So we have Jules over here. Sounds like fucking Matthew McConaughey and Bennett, who should be reading kids' bedtime stories, ghost bedtime stories. This is going to be this is going to be a really good show. I already have a feeling already.
It was a dark and stormy night.
That's not the first time I've heard that.
I love it.
But yeah, so obviously I want you guys to bust in if you have any questions or anything like that. Or if you, are you guys familiar with this guy at all? Randy Kraft, have you heard about him? Do you know what he did? Anything?
I can't say I have.
Yeah,
Brooke, Bennett.
Yeah, like legit. Part of it is because I was in the Marines, and he killed a whole bunch of Marines. So
Oh,
That's how I know.
Well, when I
Mhm.
saw the topic for the show, I did research thinking we were going to be talking about the government cheese stores. So no,
yeah, that's what I was hoping for too.
That's
I
When made the
didn't.
thumbnail, it's like, yo, ChatGPT couldn't throw fucking cheese in the picture.
Well, I always get pissed off because a lot like what's talked about in Program to Kill is how these guys get these like super bitchin' monikers like Green River Killer, Hillside Strangler, BTK, Mind Torture Kill, and they go down as like these mega villains in history's, deadliest crime and all that. They almost get like sensationalized and almost like they're a celebrity or something because they get these like the Zodiac Killer and shit like that. So Randy Kraft is actually known by many things. He's known as the Scorecard Killer and the Southern California Strangler, but I gave him my own moniker because I think obviously if you have a last name like Kraft and you are in the Army, I think Air Force, actually. He's in the Air Force. His last name is Kraft. And he's a piece of human dog shit. And so he deserves to have a ridiculous moniker because he's a ridiculous person. And so I named him the Government Cheese Killer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because, yeah, fuck this guy. He doesn't get to go down as like history's mega villain, in my opinion. He just doesn't. Like, some of the stuff it is so repulsive. It was hard for me to almost get through the research because it was turning my stomach like inside out. And I couldn't believe I had never heard of this guy before. You hear about all of like the top dogs like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, the Zodiac. Those are all infamous and everybody knows about them. But my husband was listening to this podcast the other day and they were talking about Randy Kraft and like all this stuff he did. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And then you look at his crimes and you're like, what the actual fuck is this? It deserves definitely its own episode. But at the end of this, I'm actually going to show you how he could have been possibly confused for like 3 other guys who were doing the same thing around the same time. And whether or not they knew about each other remains a mystery. But it just seems odd that 3 serial killers would be in the same area, perpetrating almost identical crimes to each other, all in the Southern California area, and not know about each other. It just seems a little bit too much for coincidence, in my opinion. But yeah, did you guys have any questions about this guy before we get started?
I just want to say, I like that you gave him a crappy name to go with it, because that kind of reminds me of BTK. He wanted to be called something cool. He wanted that notoriety, and you're right. They just don't deserve it.
They don't, right? Thank you, Brooke. It's like, you don't get to go down as like Bind, Torture, Kill. Did you see that guy? First off, his name is fucking Dennis. His name is Dennis. And he
looks like one.
Yeah, he does look like a Dennis. And he wore these fucking huge ass 80s dad glasses. And he like helped out at his church's youth group or something like that. If you saw Dennis Rader at Walmart, you'd be like, for sure he has like a Boy Scout camp somewhere that he runs. Like, he just looked like this totally upstanding, like, nerd douchebag guy that, is your typical, common 80s dad. But no, he's Bind, Torture, Kill. Crazy shit, right? So,
I was gonna say, Julia, isn't it weird that like most of these notorious or infamous killers are from Southern California or Southern California-esque, or they visited Southern California, or they have some sort of association with Southern California?
Yeah, Lisa's hitting it right on the head with that, because if you read Program to Kill, one of the things that he talks about is how just in California alone, like all of these serial killers, Charles Manson, the Zodiac Killer, Randy Kraft, Richard Ramirez. I mean, they all come out of California, and it is even documented that Ted Bundy flew to California for a considerable period of time when was doing something before he went back to Seattle and became the Ripper that we
He was
know
doing
him.
Mormon shit.
Maybe he was doing something.
He's a Mormon. I don't know if people know that.
He had the complete backing support of his local Mormon church the first time he got arrested, and they all made fucking signs for him, and they said, "We love Ted," and they were outside the courthouse rubbing their fucking nipples to go, "Ted is a good guy. Ted is this." It's like, what are you talking about? He's literally a fucking rapist, murderer. It just kills me. It kills me. Like, you guys are supposed to have great intuition and be so close to the Lord, and you guys got Joseph Smith and all this shit going on. You're supposed to be all, intuitive, and you got literally a poster saying, "We love Ted." He probably raped and murdered 60 of your kids, and you got a sign outside the courthouse saying, "We love Ted." Like, that to me is how crazy all of this gets, because these people hide in plain sight, and I don't think that it's an accident. I think it's by design. They're master manipulators. They're highly functioning psychopaths. And I think that they are chosen because of this to be a part of these programs. Highly functioning psychopaths, narcissists, manipulative.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't get chosen to be a part of the program to kill Academy if you're just like a normal guy who has a podcast and works for Progressive. You're not going to get chosen.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into, like, how long were these people prepped before they started to commit these crimes? Like, were they kidnapped as children? Were they bred into it? And that goes into SRA and a whole nother, a whole nother topic. But yeah.
Well, Jules, think of it like this. They set up all these gifted and talented programs at schools looking for something. Okay. They set up a lot of programs for young kids. Then they're clearly looking for something. They're organizing field trips. Like, there is a story about Jeffrey Dahmer going on a school field trip to Washington, and he makes some kind of anomalous phone call to who we don't know, and he is able to arrange a private tour of the White House for him and all of his student friends in his class. Like, who the fuck did he call, and how does he know somebody at the White House where he could call and arrange a private tour for him and his class?
Nobody ever asked those questions.
Well, the thing is like, all right, everybody knows about that. Everybody knows that Jeffrey Dahmer, oh, he's so funny. He made a phone call and he got this private tour at the White House. He's also said to be a highly functioning psychopath, a narcissist, manipulative. He was in the army. I mean, it's like, I think that they find these kids at a young age, and I think that they're looking for these specific markers. And if you fit the, whatever it is, if you check all the boxes, you get to be a part of something like this. And most of the time, I think that they are programmed to either forget their crimes or to not even remember that they've been programmed at all. Kind of like Manchurian Candidates. It's like, they go out, they do this stuff, they come back, they don't even remember doing it, or they don't remember being programmed to do it. And, a lot of people will say, oh, not everything is CIA, not everything is, and that's true, but there is a blueprint actually that you can look for. Not every serial killer meets that criteria, but the ones that do, it's too much in common to just be a coincidence. And this guy is one of them. Just like Ted Bundy, Dahmer, they all fit this blueprint. And this guy, again,
real quick, I just want to, sorry to interrupt you, but real quick before you go. And I know it's going off a little off topic, but like, you had mentioned somebody, he got to go to the White House. I mean, even when Gacy was in prison, he had, I forgot what you call it, but it's like when you just have one hole in golf that you just keep on trying to, get it in. He had one of those installed in the prison he was at. How the fuck do you get this done while you're in jail?
He also had like McDonald's delivered to his fucking cell, and he had like civilian clothing delivered to him, and he had like all this stuff. He has a picture of him and the first lady just chilling.
Yeah, he was close to the Carters. Like, yeah. He used to run a parade in his town.
Yes. So he was a part of the JCs, which like trained young
Impressed me
men
with
to
that.
like. Yes, he was a part of the JC. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. If you look, because Ted Bundy was also involved in politics. And, you know, he was a Mormon. He was, you know, as Bennett was saying, he was really involved in his community. And it made people think like, oh, he couldn't possibly be doing this stuff because he's such a stand-up guy. Look at him, he's great. And it's by design that these guys just blend right in, just like BTK. He's like helping out at his church and he's like, you know, whatever. So it's not an accident that these guys are master chameleons and they just kind of like, you know, blend into their surroundings. This guy, Randy Kraft, he was enrolled in the Reserve Officers Training Corps. And he was also involved in some kind of campaign rallies for Barry Goldwater in 1964. And he was also like really involved in supporting the Vietnam War. And that was like his first taste of like becoming political. And he actually ended up organizing campaign rallies for Robert F. Kennedy. And he got real tight with Robert F. Kennedy, and he got like some kind of letter of recognition or something from Robert F. Kennedy because he was helping him out so much with his campaign. So again, if you look for like the subtle clues in the background, they're always going to be there. Somehow political, somehow in a gifted and talented program at school, highly functioning psychopath, narcissist. It's like always hidden somewhere in there. And if you look hard enough, you'll find it. So a lot like Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy, Randy Kraft also seems to be able to elude police officers multiple times or downright just get away with shit, get arrested and get almost no bail, a very small bail, or not arrested at all. Like how, like, that has to be another part of the blueprint is how can you keep getting arrested? How can you keep getting in trouble for the same bullshit over and over again and nothing ever happened to you? Like in the case of Jeffrey Dahmer, he had victims that actually got returned back to him by police officers.
Yo, that was the craziest.
So,
that story, it's like, how to come on.
This guy did too. Randy Kraft, police officers brought a victim who just said, that guy raped me in the asshole, beat me over the head, drugged me, molested me. He was in the hospital. They took him back to Randy Kraft's apartment, never filed any charges against him. He didn't even get a night in jail and just skirted on the whole thing. That was his first victim. So again, if you look at this stuff, it's too much to be a coincidence. Like, how does Jeffrey Dahmer and this guy, who have so much in common from their past, end up getting victims returned to them? No jail time. They elude police at every stop. I mean,
another common thing I've noticed too, this could maybe just be happens, you know, just coincidental, but you will also get a lot of people where it's like if they would have gone to jail either for the right amount of time for the first crime they committed or things that they should have gotten arrested for to begin with, all this other shit never would have happened.
Dude.
You know, like Bundy, Gacy, and this guy. If they would have gotten caught, or Gacy would have stayed in jail as long as he would have, supposed to have had first time, he wouldn't have killed all those other motherfuckers.
And Charles Manson, the same thing happened with him. He was arrested and let go a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
Why?
these guys, many of these serial killer guys, right? The folk, they just, what ends up happening is that they're nice, clean cut guys, right? And it's all a persona, literally a dual personality, right? And most of them are highly intelligent, and they do this stuff to just cover it up, and they end up getting into positions where they wield influence. That's part of the reason they get into politics, right? I mean, they literally, you know, mold themselves into high functioning, organized killers. Cause that's the one thing about Kraft is he's so organized. Well, all of them, Dahmer, Bundy. So they're able to get away with it for so long. You know, they're polished, intelligent, well integrated into society, all that stuff. Respectable. They put that respectable mask on.
And sometimes they even, you know, I feel like they go out of their way to even pick kind of attractive people, because you do hear about, like, there's one that I really want to talk to you guys about in a future episode. His name is Rodney Alcala. He's also known as the dating game killer. And they made a movie about him on Netflix. It's called The Woman of the Hour, and it talks about his crimes and stuff. What they won't tell you in that movie, though, or any Netflix documentary, is this guy is also definitely fits the blueprint for Program to Kill. But he's a good fucking looking guy. He's like a Farrah Fawcett haircutted fucking freak strangler. And if you saw the guy, you would definitely be interested in him. Like, some people talk about Ted Bundy was attractive. Rodney Alcala was like a Native American guy or something like that. He had like real dark hair, you know, tall, dark, and handsome. Ended up fucking raping and murdering 130 women. Like, that's, to me, it's like they go out of their way to like find attractive, extremely intelligent, manipulative psychopaths to be a part of this. You know, the only one.
What you're saying, Julia, is that them and the pharmaceutical reps also look for attractive people to run a con.
100. The pharmaceutical reps are horrible for that shit. Yeah. They'll send like a girl with their tits half out pretty much up into a place to literally just wearing pasties and like handful of pills. And the thing that always
Chick-fil-A.
I love Chick-fil-A. The thing that I always say, though, is the one person I can think of that doesn't fit that stereotype would be John Wayne Gacy, because he was just a fat, gross motherfucker, just a nasty. He just looked like he like mopped floors at KFC. Like, you'd just see him and be like, gross.
Yo, he did. You know, if I remember correctly, no joke, didn't he actually run KFCs before he started?
He did. He did. And he requested KFC for his last meal.
And it wasn't he like the inspiration too for Captain Spaulding? So kind of the same vibe. I'm pretty sure when Rob Zombie was crafting his character that he played on that influence.
A big fat gross motherfucker.
Yeah, because he worked as a clown.
Yep.
At kids' birthday parties. So
and and Captain Spaulding sells chicken at the
exactly.
gas station.
Oh, that's funny.
So when you were talking about how there's several, I think you'll probably get to it, but how they were all some other active serial killers in the area. I'm not sure if you watched the show Sandman or not.
I did.
But okay, so basically there's this convention of serial killers that all come together once a year, and they break off into mini groups, like depending on if they're like religious killers or people who poison or go for organs, they like break off. And so when you said that, and you said they could be working together, my mind went there. And I know in the past on the Rejects, you guys have talked about potentially a serial killer ring in the United States. I think that's incredibly possible that they could have been in some facet aware of what one another was doing.
148 serial killers in California, Julia. That's what it was.
That's too much. I mean, that's too much. And it's like Brooke was saying, actually, Nick, if maybe you were too high at the time, but maybe not. You could remember this. We actually covered the Sandman together in an episode called Netflix and Chill or something like that.
I remember that. Yeah.
Do you remember? And we talked about that serial killer convention because it was like pedophiles, serial killers, and they all just go to this one convention at a hotel and talk and exchange notes and like, you know, trade secrets and shit like that. And they put their heads together. But it seems to me,
it's called Killicon, by the way. Just kidding.
Killicon.
Nice.
No, Killicon.
Killicon?
I'm just kidding.
Well,
it's a joke. Sorry.
That'd be a good
They
name
did. I think
for
in
it.
the show it was a cereal convention, but like the cereal you eat.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna
yeah,
say.
Hilarious.
I was sitting here thinking like they had some kind of a cover for it, but
yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah,
I
it's like
couldn't
a
remember
Mountain
what it was.
Dew and shit, right?
Yeah,
And one of
yeah.
the
They're
one
all
of the people
cereal
pulls up
reps.
and they're like, "Where's the Fruit Loops? Like, we don't see any cereal."
Right. That's actually a really good show if anybody hasn't watched it. It's full of esoteric and occult symbolism, as Nick pointed out in the show we did together. But I do think they're aware of each other. I do think that some serial killers can just be random psychos that go nuts and just end up killing people. I'm not going to say all of them are programmed killers, but the ones that you find that are almost sensationalized to a degree of becoming a celebrity or something like that, or their crimes and their backgrounds are so similar to each other that you're like, what are the odds? Like, they had to have known about each other. They're like killing their victims in the same exact way. They live a couple blocks from each other. Like, how does this happen? You know?
Don't they write letters to each other? I know that there have been a couple of people that Nick and I have covered that they were exchanging letters with each other. I think with
Well,
Rex Human,
fuck.
he was exchanging letters with BTK, wasn't he?
Oh
something.
shit! See,
yeah, they're having conversations.
They were having conversations. They were
freaking
exchanging letters, and they said
admiring
that
each other.
that is not uncommon for these convicted serial killers, that they will exchange letters with each other,
When we covered
fanboy
that,
each other, or whatever.
Right.
Lisa, do you remember when we covered that? I can't remember exactly what it matched, but I started taking like BTK and
Yes.
putting certain words through gematria, and like certain things were actually matching, like Oyster Bay or like the town, like the area where
Yeah.
fucking shit happened. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
is there some like weird like occult stuff going on here in the news?
And it was BTK's daughter, and then the what was it? Not the Sunshine Killer, but the Smiley Killer. Not Smiley Face Killers, but
Smiley
the Smiley
Face?
Kill-
I was,
No, it was.
I perked
it
up
was,
on that.
It was
Oh, the
another
process
Happy face,
search.
happy face killer.
Happy Face. Thank you.
Happy face.
Happy
killer,
Face
I was gonna
Happy
say.
Face.
His daughter,
So,
and then
yeah.
BTK's daughter came out and were in support of Rex Heuermann's family, as well as her daughter, and they were very vocal in protecting her and trying to provide some sort of support. Started up an entire GoFundMe. We kind of did a little bit of background on the daughter of Happy Face. She's wanted for theft. And
Oh,
so yeah,
she's a fucking
Yeah,
dirtbag.
scam artist.
I don't know if she's like wanted for that,
Wow.
but she has I think money crime history.
Yeah, it was a money crime. We and it's not illegal. We used Intellis. We had a 2-week trial and we threw her name in there, and that's what came up. Said that she's already committed crimes with money. And the only reason like we were even getting into that, and you know, we can get back to the topic, but like when it comes to true crime,
Important.
there is something, in my opinion, when you start looking at these, it's always the weird ones or the ones that make no sense and seem off the wall that everybody's got GoFundMe's going on.
Mhm.
Fucking grift. There's something going on. The people who are even involved in the crimes or possibly are even playing games with money. Who the fuck knows? But something's up. There's always these weird GoFundMe's going on. People
I
raising
can
up 50 grand so I can go watch the Kohlberger trial. What the fuck you need 50
Yeah.
grand to watch a trial for?
I had a question for Julia. Do you think that there is like an A team, B team, first string, second string of serial
100.
killers?
Yeah, because Lisa, think about it like this. Not only could these be government programs that are broken up into subsects for like whatever, mixing business with pleasure, essentially, like gay guys. Obviously, you got like Jeffrey Dahmer, and then you got guys like Rodney Alcala and Ted Bundy. They're not gay, but they murder their victims in a really similar way. I think that they're also mixed up with magic in some way.
Yeah.
The ritualism behind the crimes, the areas in which they're perpetrating the crimes,
Have you found
the neighborhoods,
any kind
anything.
of Sorry, have you found any kind of significance to the dates of the certain crimes?
It's interesting to think about because I actually think a lot of they'll say like, oh, we found this body at this time and we found this body at this time. But there were so many active serial killers in and around the time Randy Kraft was ripping and running through dudes' buttholes during this time that I don't know who killed who. There was too many. It's like there's like 80 victims and 3 serial killers, and they can't tell who the fuck did what. And it's like, obviously this is significant in some way because they're murdering in clusters around the same time, all 3 of them in the same exact way. Like, how?
And they're still finding people, like DNA evidence and shit. They're still tying it to like cold cases to this guy. So
yes,
just nuts.
yes. So he actually joined the United States Air Force, and he was stationed at Edwards Air Force Base, which is also the same Air Force Base where a lot of the Laurel Canyon cast of characters came out of. Edwards Air Force Base also, so he was supposed to be a supervisor of teaching people how to paint test planes. That's what he was supposed that was his official job title, is supervising the painting of test planes. And he became an airman first class, but they found out that he was gay, and they released him on medical grounds, quote unquote, which on surface level you'd say, oh well, that might have been common back in the 60s. To get to, released on medical grounds for being gay. But in my opinion, they don't let somebody like this just go. He's too valuable, obviously. So maybe the cover is we let him go on the medical grounds, but he just got repurposed in some, unclassified, program to kill type academy thing because he had a genius IQ. And after they dismissed him from the Air Force, he found employment for the aerospace program. So, I mean, a lot of the victims that they say he killed were all around his business trips, traveling around for the aerospace program. So, you know what I mean? It's like he didn't travel too far outside of the sus as fuck category as far as employment goes when he started killing all these guys. It's like, oh, you were in the Air Force, now you're working for the aerospace program, and every time you have a business trip, like 6 dudes get murdered in the area. Like, is that a coincidence? And then they find like pictures and DNA evidence later that would link him to the crimes. But
That's
his first victim,
I wanted to say real
quick,
quick, Julia, I know it's kind of a between aerospace and NASA. I mean, there's a difference there, but I do find it interesting. Remember how I mentioned it to you, and it's something that I probably would like us to cover at some point. I mentioned it to some of us here. I'm covering it where I had started noticing, Lisa's even noticed it, other people have noticed it, that like, why is there always somebody in NASA popping up with all these new fucking true crimes? There's always a link to somebody's in fucking NASA. What's up with that?
right.
And again, I always say I think NASA is basically like a Nazi magical operation. So like, if I think that they're handing you shit and portraying it in a different way and people are believing it, why would they not do that with other shit? They're obviously manipulators with the film and shit. They make you believe whatever the fuck they throw on the screen.
And it's like I said before, it has to be integrated with a magical aspect. It can't just be like, oh, the government program, case closed, that's it. There's always like this weird magical aspect to it too, where it's like you said, they fake all this moon landing stuff, they fake all this space stuff, they lie to us constantly, right? And then there's just this aspect of like serial killers and weirdos working for them and shit like that. Like, okay, nothing to see here, I guess.
Yeah, it's just something I noticed, and I just find it weird. All right, sorry I interrupted for all that.
Oh, I thought Lisa was about to say something.
I was going to interrupt. You know what's interesting, Julie? You were talking about, because I was going to ask you what year did all this kind of start to, transpire or whatever. What's interesting, I think you said somewhere around the 60s, and we've covered at length the 60s on this podcast. What's interesting is that you do have a lot of presence of certain ops or certain operations from the government occurring in bathhouses during the 60s, especially in California, especially in these big cities, especially in these cities where a lot of tech is happening. Tech back then was aeronautics, or space programs or government programs and stuff like that. So it's interesting that they would have this guy who was sexually active in the community, that he would, be potentially. Has anyone looked at the victimology of like, if his victims were involved in some sort of programs.
They
Or
there
like
were mostly
aeronautics or stuff.
Marines.
That's right. You said that. Sorry, my apologies.
I
Yes.
think actually Bennett had mentioned it. He killed a fuck ton of Marines and other military men, actually. So it's kind of like I was saying before. They find people. It's like they mix business with pleasure. This guy's gay. He loves murdering assholes, and they got a lot of Marines they got to get rid of.
Well, I think what it was is he like really tried to find. Well, they were always drunk or on drugs usually,
or he drugged them,
and that's what I
without
mean.
them know.
I mean,
Yeah,
even the way they caught him.
dude, don't
I'm not
even
gonna
get me
spoil it. I'm
started
not
on
gonna
that.
spoil it.
I was gonna say, I got a whole fucking thing on how they caught him because damn.
Sorry.
But it was a Marine.
No, Lisa, that was great. That was great. Question, because I did connect that they were mostly like military or Marines or something like that. And
I
like
think he had a rage issue against like macho guys or more macho guys, kind of, and that was like his MO was like, this is who I fucking hate because they've ruined my life or whatever, and I am gonna take control and show the power over these bastards.
I mean, it definitely could have been, and I will entertain that only if you'll entertain the possibility that these guys were like people that they wanted to get rid of.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking that. I was going
Okay.
to bring that up. Maybe these are
that is a good point though too, and I haven't
It
thought of
assassinations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we need to get rid of Private, Smith. Oh,
'Cause he
send
saw
Randy Kraft
something.
over there. Yeah.
Here's a
he'll-
list of these guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
yeah.
some butts you can
Make
fuck.
sure they don't make it till
There's
Christmas.
a cleaner.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
It does
yeah.
make you wonder what sort of programs that they were involved in.
That's also a
Trafficking
really
children,
good point.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, his first victim got returned back to him. No charges were ever filed. The kid was like 13. He got raped. He got drugged. He got beaten. Nobody cared. So obviously there's something else going on here. But what I find interesting, and you guys need to, throw your 2 cents in, is the type of things that he did to his victims go beyond just killing a person. It's and if anybody in the live stream, whatever, if you're sensitive or you might just want to puss out now, because I'm going to just say all the details. Okay. He wouldn't just like sodomize a guy. He would sodomize a guy, but then he would like cut their dick and their ball bag off while they were still alive. He would make sure that they were still alive for all of it. Sometimes he would take their dick and ball bag and then shove it up their ass. Sometimes he would take his car lighter out of his car and burn their nipples off and burn their eyeballs out.
So
he would shove dirt. Dude,
I was just going to ask, what was he sodomizing them with? Like his penis?
He did. Yeah. I mean, he did rape them. Sometimes it was just more about the kill. Because they found like ballpoint pins inserted into their penises. They found a bunch of them decapitated. They found a bunch of victims that were just in pieces and parts. And it's like, this goes beyond just like killing a guy.
Yeah.
To rip somebody's dick and ball bag off, put it in their ass, and then like burn their eyeballs out with a car cigarette lighter. This goes beyond just killing someone.
Well, it sounds like some of the torture methods that they used back in like antiquity or ancient times. So maybe it is some ancient, like some dark spirit that is not only taking them over, but being like invoked to take them. Like he's being whoever it is just being groomed to be a vessel for a particular entity.
Well, Jules, have you ever heard this saying, like, what would possess someone to do that? I don't know. Why do we use that terminology? What would possess someone to do something like that. I don't know, a demon maybe, like, or something. They've tapped into something, obviously, that there's a dark passenger driving, like they say in Dexter. Because the average person is not thinking to do this.
Well,
And
some people might say that they have kind of trained these people to switch on their shadow self, to switch on their dweller, right? To where they can immediately just change consciousnesses. But it's them, it's just their deep dark subconscious, right?
yeah, I think that's part of why they have to break you down in the programming, is so they can something else has to get inserted in there.
Yeah.
Something else has to take over.
Where was he doing most of his work?
So the reason they called him the freeway strangler is because they never knew where he was doing this, but he always dumped his body on the side of the freeway. So they didn't know if he was killing him in his car, if he was taking him back to his apartment and killing him and then dumping him. But all the victims were found either in Portland when he was on a business trip, Seattle when he was on a business trip, or Southern California, all by the freeway. And all that they started to put things together because he finally found his signature, which was after he raped them, murdered them, dismembered them, whatever. He would take one of the victim's socks, ball it up, and put it in their beehole. And that was his signature. Every time they found a body with a balled up sock in their beehole,
that's a weird.
They started, realizing that these victims could be connected. And the only thing that they could think of a reason why he would be doing this is they said, well, the killer must have military background, because in the military, they train you to shove socks up dead bodies' beeholes to prevent them from purging until you can get to the body or whatever. So what they surmised is that he was taking them, killing them somewhere else, putting the sock in the beehole to prevent purging until he could dump the body.
Yeah. Well, the reason that comes to mind is that it's almost like, was he doing this for someone else? In that, were these experiments to see the level of pain and torture, and were these methods of potential interrogation to be used later in other operations? In that, yes, it looks like a serial killing. Yes, it looks like somebody is disturbed. Or was Randy contracted by the government to inflict these types of torture to measure the level of whatever
depravity?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then now it's a data point, and you can feed it back to whomever contracted you as a way of saying, yeah, they break at this point, or if you do this, they'll do this, or what have you. And then like you said, the signature, Randy would be like, well, that was my calling card. I did that one. The other guy did the other one. I did this one.
Right.
Julia, I mean, it kind of goes hand in what she's saying, kind of goes hand in hand with why they called him the scorecard killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's checking boxes in a cryptic. Yeah.
Very cryptic. Yeah.
And that's how he was able to delineate who was who too.
Right. Because they found in his car when they busted him the scorecard with all the victims' names and like a little description. And it's kind of like what you were saying, Lisa, is he taking them somewhere else and doing this for God only knows what reason? And then he has to use this beehole sock because he's got to drive them then somewhere and dump the body. But the problem is, it's like, he's supposed to be in charge of supervising people painting test airplanes. At what point did shoving a sock in somebody's beehole come up in the painting of the test planes training? Like, I'm not a rocket scientist here, but I would say if you're in charge of painting test planes, a sock in somebody's dead beehole is not going to come up. Another thing that I don't understand why they said this is they said well, the killer obviously has military background because not only is there a sock in the victim's beehole, but he would take tissue paper and he would shove it in the nostrils and down the throat, which is another thing I guess they do in the military because fluids come out and whatever after somebody dies. And it's like, again, when did the tissue paper nostril technique come up in the painting of the test planes? Can somebody explain that to me? Like, obviously, he has further training that we don't fucking know about. Obviously.
I mean, I spent 10 years in the military and I never was trained to that shit. But
Oh,
this
you
is
didn't get trained on the
no
beehole sock?
beehole insertion
no,
sock.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
Come on,
So
Bennett.
at the end of the day,
you
the
got
end of the day,
I was
at the
gonna
end
ask.
of the day, it could have been some Vietnam stuff. I mean, that's when this was happening. So it's like maybe that was training back then, but I've never heard
Bennett,
of it,
I know
ever.
you're not trying to justify
No.
that bullshit.
I'm just saying. No, I'm not trying to
beehole
justify.
sock,
I'm just
the
saying, holy
beehole
shit.
sock.
But
You know,
Bennett,
I mean, I
is
put a
it-
sock in my butthole when it's too hot outside. So
I
Oh my
mean,
God.
It
works better
collects
than
the
Imodium.
moisture. Yeah.
Bennett,
No, I'm just kidding, I
isn't
don't do
some
that.
of these paints on any of the military planes
Nobody clicked
considered
that.
highly classified?
Yeah, well, not yeah. I mean, even back then, yeah. I guess you had a plane
They were
like the
extremely
SR-71.
classified.
You had, especially now, but not so much back then. But maybe,
But
especially like in that area, you had the SR-71 Blackbird and the other one, the other spy plane, the big. It's like something 50.
Oh, the
Yeah, whatever. Either
all-
way,
all-
they had radar reflecting paint.
yes,
So
yes, and most of that stuff was patented and highly classified.
yeah,
And not anybody could handle that type of paint because they
so-
would have to pass a clearance in order to handle that type of paint.
good point. Great
Because
point.
of extreme class. Like we were the only country that had the patent for a while on some of the reflective paint to evade radar detection, didn't we?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we still do. I mean, they're like they don't even know. Like the F-22, they have no idea what it's coated with. Zero. Nobody.
Right.
And we won't sell it to anybody either. So
Correct.
nobody's
And
got
it's weightless because
Yep.
every single paint has a certain weight.
and that's
thing
the shit we
has-
know about.
Yeah.
The shit we don't know about, who even fucking knows, frankly. I mean, people have to understand the F-22s. It's almost a 30-year-old plane in the grand scheme of things. And it's far and beyond anything anyone else has. So
So wouldn't he have
that's not even-
clearance then?
probably, I mean, if he's painting, I guess it depends
Just
on what
tell me when the fucking beehole sock comes in. That's
yeah,
all.
I've never heard that in my life. And I'm telling you the God's honest truth. Never heard that shit in my life. Where'd she go?
I'm gonna have to do a deep dive into butthole socks now.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm gonna find,
because
but
I'm actually writing it down right now
all right.
because I've never heard of that.
Well, I just find
Yeah,
it interesting too that all of this is happening in the 60s, right around the time that MK Ultra is happening, and Charles
Right.
Manson is running around, getting out of jail, working with the CIA. It's just
That's
interesting
crazy.
timing. And she
Mhm.
hit the nail on the head with Laurel Canyon. I wrote that down
Mhm.
because I was like, I wonder if there's some sort of a connection there.
Yeah.
You know what I was wondering, and I was going to ask you, Lisa, because I know this is something that me and you have, kind of researched but never covered. Do you think it's quite possible that they had to voice the skull stuff then?
Yes.
Because I do think that's actually being used now. to
Well,
make,
I mean,
killers.
remember when we covered the whole Esalen thing and we started to look at some of these scientists from UCLA, Harvard, Stanford, and all that? This was popping off late 50s, early 60s. And this was the psychological angle. This is the angle that we just know about. We didn't even touch upon any of the physiological, anatomical. We were just looking mainly at the psychological angle of some of these tests. And so, yes, it was right around the same time, all of it.
60s, late 60s, 70s were wild, especially with psychological stuff. The shit that they were doing to folks, shit that they were doing to prisoners. It was unbelievable. I mean, like, just heinous.
And I think to your point, Lisa, they could be testing the capabilities of what's possible,
Yes.
you know, as far as mind control goes and
Yeah.
taking people to their
Well-
breaking points and what they can invoke.
Exactly. And I don't mean to keep going on this, but remember, we just brought the boys from Germany over and they
Yes.
were doing all kinds of tests on twins, on pain. Most of what we know about pain response comes from these scientists.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that we know about manipulating viruses, bacteria, and all kinds of infectious agents comes from these scientists. So who's to say that we're not employing the B team or the A team of Program to Kill to see what's happening, you know, what can happen on X, Y,
I
and
think
Z. of
the
things.
A team is this group that we're talking about right here that came out of the 60s, because it was like Brooke was saying, Randy Kraft was at Edwards Air Force Base at the same time, like Frank Zappa's dad and like all these assholes' parents were there. I mean, it's too much to be a coincidence. And then Charles Manson, like you were saying, I think the 60s, especially like with Randy Kraft and a couple others that I'm going to tie into at the end, that they were part of the A team, I would say, you know, and then they manufactured, based on their results with the first round, future generations of serial killers. So I would say that Jeffrey Dahmer is probably like B team, because he was like in the 80s or 90s, something like that. So he's later on, they've perfected it a little bit more. Now he's like got vats of acid in his apartment and cooking dudes' dicks off and like cannibalizing them and feeding them to his neighbors and shit. Like it just becomes more depraved as time goes on. It's like they gotta up the echelon to the next, you know, worst thing they can terrify people with. Jules, did you have something you wanted to? I thought I saw a comment on the side there. Did you have something you wanted to touch on?
No. I was just I was apologizing, Nick. I was laughing for a minute. My audience has been making sexual remarks at me, and
Do they want to put
it's starting to
socks
make me
in your
uncomfortable.
beehole?
No, they want me to put stickers on my nipples, and because I've done it before, so it's not happening, guys.
I mean,
sorry.
as long as you don't put a sock in your beehole.
Yeah, we're not doing that either. I think they're talking about doing that to each other. I don't know. Like I said, I can't control what these guys say. They're insane. Oh, and then here's Joey Poop Bags here now. Okay.
All right.
Well.
Well, so I did want to I wanted to just give one other example of a time where they found a victim and they basically let him totally off the hook for it. He abducted two cousins, two male cousins. He let one of them go, and the other one he kept overnight. And the next morning, they found this guy's decapitated head in a jetty somewhere nearby where he picked these two guys up. And the cousin said, I can identify the car. I can identify the guy. I can tell you all about it. He drugged us. He was weird. He threw me out of the car. He took my cousin. I don't know what happened to him. The police brought him in for questioning. He admitted picking both of them up. He said, yeah, I was with him last night, but I dropped him off at home and I don't know what happened to him after that. And the police were like, well, that's funny because we just found his fucking decapitated head right nearby where you picked the guy up. And he's like, yeah, well, it wasn't me. No further questions, no further investigating, nothing. They just let him walk right out of the police station. Literally, the guy's cousin said, this is the guy who picked us up. He drugged us. He tossed me out of a car. He took my cousin. Now my cousin's decapitated and he has a sock in his beehole. And nothing. They do nothing. Like it's crazy to me how many times this guy looked police officers in the face and just was able to walk right back out of the police station. no consequences.
Wow.
And he went on to murder another like 50, 60 guys after that. If they would have busted him on that murder, he could have saved 60 men's lives.
Well, that's kind of like Epstein. Okay, when he got arrested down in Florida, and he basically got that sweetheart deal where he was running the jail down there for a little while. When pressed about it, the Attorney General of Florida at the time just said it was above his pay grade and that there was nothing that he could do. Because you're right, if he would have, like, take him for example, would have been busted then and gone to jail for the trafficking charges and the molestation charges, we may not have that giant black ring that we had today. So if he would have gotten the appropriate sentencing then, but I think that there are some high level people allowing these people to walk free. Absolutely.
I mean, and to me, it's like, how do you justify that the cousin who saw this man was in the car with him, said that he drugged us and pushed me out of the car while it was going down the highway, and now my cousin's head's decapitated off and he's got a sock in his asshole? Like, how the fuck do you justify and just letting him walk right out? Like, no investigating the car even to see if they can
Right,
find the
yeah.
drugs or the, like, nothing? You're gonna do nothing. Like, that's crazy to me. I mean,
Yeah.
Do you think it's just the cops being lazy, or do you think that they were told to maybe stand down?
I think that just like in the case of Jeffrey Dahmer, when they said, hey, we're gonna, respond to this, whatever it was, that some ladies called the police and they said, there's a kid out in the street, he's got blood running down his asshole, he's got all this stuff wrong with him. The police show up, they say, hey, we're responding to this, complaint, whatever, about this boy being in the street with blood running out of his asshole. And then all of a sudden, as soon as they get to the scene, Jeffrey Dahmer's there and they're like, oh, well, this is just some gay guy stuff that we don't want any part of. Let's just take him back up to the apartment. They get into the apartment. He's got 2 dead people in his bedroom that have been filleted open with all their freaking lungs and everything out.
Yeah.
And the police officers, these are supposed to be highly trained police officers, right? You gonna tell me they don't smell that with the second he opens his apartment door? What did they open the door and go, oh, this is what fucking gay sex smells like? Just fucking leave him here and let's go. Like, are you serious? There's 2 dead bodies in the next room and they let this kid sit in there. It's too much. He drilled a hole in his brain and put acid in it after the police left.
You took my joke.
Really?
I was gonna say.
They were like that when they walk in the apartment, they were like, this is what dank asshole smells like. Let's just drop this kid off and go. Like, are you serious? As a trained police officer, you didn't suspect anything, you didn't smell anything, you didn't see anything, and you just let this kid who has blood running out of his asshole down his legs, all looped out with no clothes on, wandering around in the street. You took him back to the apartment and you left him there with Jeffrey fucking Dahmer.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
It's too bizarre. So in my opinion, I think that they are told to leave it, drop it, get rid of it, cover it up, act like you didn't see it.
Yep.
Move on.
Yep. Maybe not the
Mum's
cops
the word.
themselves, but the cops themselves are told to leave it.
Yeah, their chief or whoever.
Yes.
Yep.
So in this particular instance with the guy who had his head decapitated, the order to release Randy Kraft came from the LA District Attorney's Office specifically. So, does that say anything for you? The orders came down straight from the LA District Attorney's Office to let Randy Kraft go.
Wow.
That's what I mean. There's just some high level players in these cases.
Yeah.
Yes. So he basically goes on ripping and running through dudes' buttholes for like 10 to 12 years. Nobody suspects him. He never gets caught, nothing. Until let's see here. I have it in my notes when he gets caught. I believe it was in the 80s. Bennett, do you remember? It was the 80s or it was...
Oh, for
let's
the
see. When he gets busted.
yeah, it was in here. I can give you the exact date.
That's so many
here it goes.
buttholes.
Here it goes.
1983.
1983.
May 14th, 1983.
Yes. Okay. So May 14th, 1983, it says at 1:10 a.m. he's driving all erratically all over the place down the highway. He gets stopped by a police officer and they're like, hey, you need to get out of the vehicle. You're driving like shit. And they notice that he's drunk. They make him do a field sobriety test, which he fails because he's fucked up. And, he's just standing there waiting for the other police officer to inspect the vehicle because one police officer is giving him the field sobriety test. The other police officer is checking out the car. They go over to the passenger side of the car and they realize that there's another man in the vehicle. And, he's like trying to get the man to respond, poking him, talking to him, whatever. He's not responding. He removes the jacket from the man's lap to uncover that Randy actually wasn't driving erratically because he was drunk. He was driving erratically because he was in the middle of sawing this guy's pecker off. And this guy is dead as fuck. And, he's had all the things happen to him. All the Randy Kraft special has happened to this guy.
Special.
And they still do not arrest him for murder. They arrest him for driving under the influence, even though he has a whole dead guy in his passenger seat with his pecker halfway sawed off. Still does not get arrested for murder. He gets arrested for driving under the influence.
Incredible.
Not for having a halfway cut off pecker guy in the passenger seat of his car. Tell me that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was only after he was arrested for driving under the influence when they finished the investigation in his car where they found the scorecard book with the names of victims and they found several photographs that he had taken, much like Jeffrey Dahmer, of men posed in different sexual positions who were deceased. And they put all the puzzle pieces together. In my opinion, this is a case of he cooked his own goose. There was too much that was visible for them to try to save or salvage this guy. I think like at that point he was busted and they were gonna, he was gonna have to pay the piper. But he was able to get away with this forever long, and it's like, how do you respond to that? It's like the police officer stops you and it's like, you've been drinking tonight? No, officer, I'm actually just trying to saw this guy's pecker off. How about you? Like, at that point, you're fucked. You're done. You have a dead body in the car. You can't get out of it. So he did get the death penalty, but they were only able to get him on like, Bennett, do you remember
16.
like 16? Okay, I was going to say a fraction of the actual number
and they
of
have
victims.
him. I think they have him. I think it's 67. Possible
67.
Even though there was
victims.
61 in his book, so I don't know. Maybe he started making his book later or something.
Well, and also because there were those 3 guys doing crimes all around the same time that were identical to Randy. It's like, did Randy kill 67 of them? Maybe just 61 and the other were from the other guy? Or it's like they had a hard time kind of pinning the shit on him because there was so much confusion around who was actually doing this shit.
And he still has never admitted to anything. He still to this day swears that he's innocent.
I actually want to talk about the 2 other serial killers who were ripping and running through dudes' buttholes around the same time. But before we do that, Nick, could you pull up a picture of this guy?
Randy
so
Kraft?
the listeners can see? Yeah, just want everybody to look into the eyes of the government cheese killer before we move on, because I'm telling you, this, whatever you've imagined in your head, he looks just like that. He looks like a little fucking pencil dick,
Yeah, he does.
fucking nasty
looking at a
little
picture right now.
motherfucker. Yeah.
You got one. All right, hold on.
Do you want me to pull it up?
I got it. I think so. Here we go. Yes.
He looks like a young Mr. Rooney from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Shit.
Yeah, the mustache he's got in his mugshot is serious.
Yeah, so I just wanted everyone to look into the eyes of Randy Kraft, the government cheese anus killer, before we move on with the presentation, because look at this guy.
He has like almost those dead shark eyes, though. His eyes just seem really dead.
Yeah, and for me, the thing is, he looks kind of spindly almost, and it's like the kind of guys he was abducting, they almost have come to the conclusion that he would have had to have an accomplice, because at a lot of the crime scenes there were 2 pairs of footprints where the body was dumped. There have been semen analysis that don't match him, so either somebody else killed him, but he has pictures of them, so he was there. So they're thinking that he actually might have had an accomplice for all of this, in which case I would say a lot of people think that the Son of Sam was multiple assailants. A lot of people think the Zodiac Killer was multiple assailants. A lot of people so Randy Kraft, government cheese anus killer, could have been in cahoots with someone. And we may just never know about that, because it's all part of the program stuff. You're not supposed to know about that. You're not supposed to know about multiple assailants carrying this shit out. He could have been working with one of the other serial killers who got busted for doing these same crimes in and around the same area. It's like the Sandman. They met up, they had a fucking cheeseburger together, and they went and ripped and ran through a couple of dudes' beeholes and, called it a night. Like, this could be a real club that they're in. But I'll let you guys jump in and say whatever before I move on.
What's up? Anybody got anything on
that? I mean, he looks better than I expected, I guess. I don't know. After knowing what he's done, it's kind of that mental image.
It looks like he I don't know. I snuff film all over his face. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked up something really quick. It said that his dad worked for Douglas Aerospace Company.
His dad got him a job, obviously.
So his dad was already involved in aeronautics of some sort.
It's always there.
But
I've said that I think actually Jeffrey Dahmer's dad helped him out a lot, because his dad was a scientist doing something. His dad got him into taxidermy, and nobody can figure out how this guy, Jeffrey Dahmer, who had no car, was able to get a 5-gallon drum of acid into his apartment, which was on the 2nd floor, no elevator, with no help. And where did he get it from? So, I mean, I think that his dad was helping him the entire time. Who taught him about dissolving bones into a big drum of acid and stuff like that? I don't know, maybe a scientist guy. His dad was always his fucking cheerleader throughout the whole trial. Every interview, his dad was there.
His dad was a chemistry guy, wasn't he?
Yeah. Lisa, you would know. I mean, it's like, if that's what you're into and your son's a serial killer, would you not have some aspect of like influence over how he perpetrated the crimes? I mean, to me, it looks like, go ahead.
Or, like whenever we talk about the Laurel Canyon kids, their parents were in the military and they were serving the country, doing these songs and influencing culture and what have you, right? Who's to say that these scientists They don't all have to work at a military base. They could have had private contracts in their university, that the respective universities that they worked at, and then they were employing their kids, kind of, following in daddy's footsteps, just like the Laurel Canyon kids did. Who's to say
Yes.
that's not supposed to happen? Yeah.
100. I'm actually going to close this window right here because the sun is getting in my eyeball. Hang on a second.
Well, and I'm really excited to kind of hear more about the other serial killers that could have potentially been helping him, because I think even with Son of Sam, I think we give these guys way too much credit for them to be just working alone.
Yes.
Well, yeah, like,
What do you
well, not to go back to the show, but like Sandman, like they were like exchanging business cards, like, hey, let's work together. Like it was like that whole creepy ass network, It's just like,
then you find out that he was tied into the Process Church as well.
Yeah, right.
That he talks about it, and it's like you find out who else is tied to the Process Church. It's a huge network, and it ties into the Temple of Set, of course, and Michael Aquino.
I think so many of us know that the places of power are controlled by some fucked up people, right? I mean,
right.
That's pretty evident. I think all of us here have seen behind that curtain, and this just kind of is one of those things. Like, I mean, how many times, Julia, did he get? There was multiple reports of him getting pulled over with bodies in the car and them not even searching the car or whatever, because, and I'm sorry, but you can only act normal and like, oh, yes, officer, so many times.
I mean,
but I
and
think
look
it was
at
like
the guy.
5 or 6 times.
Yeah,
Like,
and you pull a guy over with a mustache like that, and it smells like dead beehole in the car, and you telling me like nobody ever thought, just like Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, it's like nobody smelled anything, nobody saw anything. It's like as a police officer, are you not trained to like use all your 5 senses to like pick up on shit? Like, is every police officer really just that incompetent, or is there something going on with this guy?
So. Just to say this as well, sorry, I don't want to cut anybody off, but I was also a cop. So
were you?
There's no but don't judge me.
Too late.
But at the end of the day, like this is like policing 101. And again, do we give it a pass because it was like the 70s and it was just weird and everything
dead bodies have
weird,
smelled the same from the beginning of time. That's what I'm saying, Bennett. It's like at some point this guy's car had to be a picture, because he used to carry like photographs of the dead people in his car with him. So did somebody see a picture?
Glove compartment.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Nobody saw it. Nobody saw anything. Nobody really.
Fuck you, Doc.
Well, I think that maybe as far as, having so many run-ins with police, like you said, you can only act normal so many times. But what if you're not going to go to jail? You're not going to be arrested. You have that confidence that you're going to be let out. Of course, you're going to be calm, cool, and collected, even when you have a decapitated corpse, because you're going to be out in 3 hours or 12 hours. They're not going to hold you.
Because your buddy's the ADA, right? Your buddy's the ADA on shift.
That's the thing, and that's why I think they were so brazen a lot of the time, especially Ted Bundy. I mean, he escaped from prison twice he escaped from prison. It's like, this guy knows, like there's something up here. So the 2 other guys that were ripping and running through dudes' buttholes in and around the same time as Randy Kraft, the first guy's name, he was also known as the Freeway Killer, just like Randy Kraft. His name is Patrick Wayne Kearney. And I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of this guy. But he's a prolific serial killer out of the 60s as well. That, just like Randy Kraft, was from Southern California. And he murdered by disemboweling, and cutting his victims' hearts and lungs out. And he's known to have killed at least 28 young men in this way. He raped them, and then he would dismember them, disembowel them. And just like Randy Kraft, it's like, how do you tell? And then he would dump them on the side of the freeway. How do you tell who's doing what when you got 2 guys in Southern California who are both gay, ripping and running through young men in various ways. And you look at Patrick Kearney and it's like, okay, what are the other similarities? Patrick Kearney was in the Air Force, just like Randy Kraft. Patrick Kearney was highly intelligent, and he spent a lot of time stationed at some type of Air Force base in Texas, where he became best friends with Lee Harvey Oswald. I can't make this shit up, you guys.
Of course he did.
After Patrick Kearney joins the Air Force, he is sent to Dallas, Texas, and he befriends Lee Harvey Oswald, and they go to language school together. They become best friends, and he said that he drove Lee Harvey Oswald to the Mexican border and went to Mexico City with him on top secret operations, then returned to California to rip and run through dudes' buttholes with Randy Kraft, also in the Air Force, shoving socks up people's beeholes. And it's like, okay, what are some other weird things about Patrick Kearney that fit the program to kill blueprint? When he returned to California, before he started his murder spree, he bought a yellow Volkswagen Beetle that he used to pick up all of his victims, just like fucking Ted Bundy. So it's like, come on, you guys. Is that just the murder vehicle? That's just so random. He's friends with Lee Harvey Oswald. He's in the Air Force. He's ripping and running through dudes' buttholes. He has a yellow Volkswagen Beetle, just like Ted Bundy. I mean,
he's just checking all the boxes.
Literally. So he was also a necrophile, something that Randy Kraft did not do, that Patrick Kearney was involved with. But much like Ted Bundy, he was into necrophilia. And it's kind of like I said at the beginning of this episode, you got to understand that there's like this governmental program aspect of it, but there's also a lot of ritualism. And I think that there's a lot of ritualism in the way that they killed their victims. I think there's a lot of ritualism in necrophilia, in a lot of the, like, taking the hearts out of the victims, you know, doing this stuff. It's significant to them. And, you know, just the fact that he's documented as being friends with Lee Harvey Oswald, it should bother people, you know, because this guy was getting away with it for a really long time, just like Randy Kraft was. And they couldn't even tell the victims apart. They were so similar. Tell me these two didn't know about each other. They had to have. And then in 1968, the third guy pops up, and his name is William Bonin. And he was also referred to as the Freeway Killer. So Randy Kraft, Patrick Kearney, and William Bonin were all known as the Freeway Killer. They all were raping and torturing and murdering boys in Southern California. And he confessed to 21 murders. And he was also specifically in the Air Force around the same time Patrick Kearney and Randy Kraft were in Southern California, perpetrating almost identical crimes as each other, and was able to get away with it from 1968 until 1980. So, I mean, you guys, it's too much. It's too much. What are your thoughts on this so far?
Yeah, it is almost like too much to be coincidence, you know. It's freaking wild.
I'm surprised I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
All three of them, or one in
just
particular?
Just the main guy, but I mean, yeah, all three of them. Even looking into serial killers, he's never crossed my path. So,
well, out of this Southern California area, the Golden State Killer, also military, right? Southern California. There was a guy named Lonnie David Franklin Jr., known as the Grim Sleeper, also military. He started murdering in and around 1985. Richard Ramirez. do you guys know about the military connection with Richard Ramirez?
I didn't.
Okay, let me tell you what I found. What'd you say, Nick?
I know I've come across it somehow, but I don't remember what it is.
So people don't actually relate Richard Ramirez as having military connections, but I found this interesting little article on him. And it says that at the age of 12, Richard Ramirez was taken under the wing of his older cousin named Mike Velez, who was a soldier in the U.S. Army who himself had become a serial killer and a rapist during his service in the Vietnam War. And Velez often boasted of committing gruesome war crimes in Vietnam and shared Polaroid photos with young Ramirez, showing Vietnamese women who he had raped, murdered, dismembered, and decapitated. So, in my opinion, he has military-esque connections, right? Because his role model, his older cousin, Miguel Mike Velez, was in the U.S. Army during Laurel Canyon, right? Vietnam shit. Dismembering, disemboweling, and decapitating women's heads off. And this is who Richard Ramirez grew up as his role model. So to me, that counts. That's like a subsect of the Program to Kill Academy.
It's weird stuff.
Julia, if I may.
Yes,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Really quickly, in that you talked about how these three men, were they all Air Force?
Yes, all three.
So we have the Air Force being created in 1947. It is an offshoot of the Navy. It's brand new, and they're doing a lot of testing. They're doing a lot of experimentation. A lot of the guys of some of Los Alamos, the Atomic Commission, and all that other stuff is kind of in this whole realm-esque of things. And if you hear about Los Alamos, you know it's not just looking for the splitting of the atom. They were doing all kinds of other stuff as well. And then you have the connection that you made with Lee Harvey Oswald. And I think Nick and I, kind of flirted with the idea of doing a show on this, because Lee Harvey Oswald has intense connections to have never left the military. He was always doing some sort of secret op with the military. He comes from a prominent family. He was also involved in the testing in a medical government contracted facility in New Orleans, where they developed a weapon to potentially kill Fidel Castro in the form of fast-acting cancer vaccine. He is very intimately related with that entire project, as too far that the girl he was dating at the time who was doing the experiment, they were dating. So he was there. So you have the Texas, Louisiana connection, you have the military connection, you have the experimentation, you have going down to Mexico, you have all of that. And then now you have these serial killers who were in the Air Force, and you're having the Air Force doing all kinds of testing. I don't know that you need any more connections.
I'm with you, Lisa. 100.
Yeah.
I mean, you painted a beautiful picture of what I think even Brooke and Bennett and Jules would agree is this is definitely by design. This is an experiment. They're figuring shit out, right? It's all part of this Laurel Canyon-esque era. And I think that the music scene and the serial killer scene were projects that they were interested in pursuing during this time. They were the training wheels for what was to come. I mean, look at how serial killers and how music has changed since then. It's like they just it gets worse with time. It doesn't get better, I wish the CIA would come back and fix some shit up. I'm so fucking sick of like Lady Gaga and stuff like that. Like bring back like the Laurel Canyon Jim Morrison shit.
We need better psyops.
Yeah.
Because since 89, the amount of serial killers has just gone straight down.
Oh God, yeah. I would love a renaissance of the
not
CIA.
that they've gone away or anything. I'm just saying that it's way less since 1989. That seems to be the tipping year.
So here's a question for you. So how many of these serial killers do you think are organic, and like just hypothetically, and how many are by design?
Like if I had to put a percentage on it,
Yeah.
like, you know, I have in my lifetime, which I'm not old or any shit like that, but I've never met a serial killer. I've never known anyone who has met a serial killer. So it's like, it makes you wonder how many of them there actually are, or if the numbers are inflated. And how many of them are organic. So
yeah, and have these strange connections, you know?
They all seem to have these strange connections. And so it's kind of like, you know, does it just a natural, I mean, psychopaths obviously exist, but to go so far as to, you know, do what some of these guys do, it's just, I don't know.
I mean,
I want to say like
go ahead.
10%. I don't know if you guys could agree with me, but maybe 10% are just random psychos that like murder their mom or some
I'd
shit
say
like
10%
that.
or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ed Kemper, did he have any ties to the military or anything? Or
probably.
Yeah. See, it seems like there is a lot, right, of folks tied to the military. Now, the one thing I am going to say about that is that you do have an exorbitant amount of psychopaths in the military, and they can go one of two ways. So it's just like, I'm sorry too, but the way the cops are, cops are just, their psychological profiles are right on that razor's edge of either you can either be a cop for good or you can just be a fucking psychopath,
right?
Murderer, like the perfect criminal, right? So I'm not saying all cops, I'm saying a lot of them psychologically, especially you have those guys in the military, especially guys in special ops who, frankly, a lot of them are, and we all know who they are, that are there for not because they love God and country. They're there because of clout, or because they frankly want to kill people, or everyone that's been in the military knows one of those guys. So it's like, so do those psychopaths just live, and then if they go to war and get broken by shit that they have to do or whatever, does that just exacerbate things? Who knows? I don't know. I'm just thinking of psychological
trauma is a
bullshit.
Crazy thing, man.
Trauma is a crazy thing.
Know, and
so
somebody
with
do
that
some
being
wild
said, too, it also, maybe they do some bad shit, and then that opens the door for them to get corrupted by whoever or whatever,
physical or non-physical entities, right?
And, I mean, Doc brought it up in the thing. It sounds like, you know, terrestrial spirits sometimes. Like some of these things, like fuckers do some wicked shit and open some crazy fucking doors and let in some crazy stuff. I mean, because when you get bored in the military too, they just do dumb shit. It's teenagers doing dumb shit.
Well, I think if you're highly functioning enough, and it's scouted out early enough,
yes,
that they will choose very young men to be, you know, used in unspecified capacities, inducted into the military.
And so many of these people, and again, I'll say it was brought up in the chat, adults that were bullied as kids flexing now, like oh, we've got the power now. You see that a lot with police officers. You see that a lot with military folk, people in power, and then they just get addicted to that, right? So, I mean, to
the point of murdering is what we're.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know,
it's crazy, and
like
because
becoming
I think
a serial killer, or just
it's possible.
I still would say only 10% are the ones you're talking about, like
maybe
from a young age, or like, you know, a power trip or something.
No, I'm
like
not
that,
even saying. I'm saying that there's an MO, right?
Definitely
of people that can be manipulated, and the folks and the people that we've been talking about, and that you've been alluding to the fact that they're controlled. That's how they recruit them anyway. because they can be molded and manipulated and twisted, and boom, there you go.
Well, you know who else I think is
Psychopath
like that?
for hire.
I think cops, military, surgeons, and doctors. I think they.
How many serial killers were doctors?
You heard of that one doctor who was literally running around fucking murdering the shit out of people?
I have one
them.
in my hometown in Connecticut. He
Dude,
chippered his whole
doctors are
fucking family.
horrible.
He put his whole family through a wood chipper.
There's been a few of them that were also just interested, and I found this interesting because of certain things. Like when it comes to the occult, you know, me and Lisa have covered, like, you know, there's books back in like the 1700s where people are drawing like detailed shit, and it's just like, how are you coming across that? And probably fucking cutting open dead bodies or whatever, you know, who knows what's going on. And like in the movie
Like
from
Da Vinci.
like in the movie From Hell, they show kind of like Freemasons cutting people open and looking at them and stuff in that Jack the Ripper movie. But like you know how many there has been a few serial killers, and I've just wondered, like, is this like some weird shit that's like common? And it maybe is the occult somehow involved in it, where they're very interested in cutting people open and seeing their insides.
That's what I'm
There's
saying.
been a few of them that even say that.
Like the taking of the heart out, the taking of like Jack the Ripper, one of the very first serial killers to ever. By the way, definitely, if Programmed to Kill was around for that time period, the fucking Jack the Ripper would have been one of them, because I have heard that it was like Aleister Crowley.
I've heard he was an
with
English lord. He was part of one of those bloodlines, and they just kind of let him out on the loose at night. And we're just like, he'll come back in the morning.
I've also heard that he was acting on behalf of the one Petrova. What's her name?
Blavatsky.
Yes.
Really?
But he was acting on her behalf
Well,
because
I heard it
she
was
was actually more
Blavatsky.
popular.
He was just kind of doing these kind of these murders as these rituals in the field, and she was maybe doing the incantations and stuff behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Like she was the mind behind the murder.
The magic, or
If you look at the victims, there were certain victims that had missing body parts.
Yeah,
so
female.
It was almost like a
stuff.
Procurement.
Were they making a Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Well, it was like uteruses, tits, like weird stuff like that. They were removing that, like specifically.
You can look it up right now.
Maybe they were trying to make some weird homunculus or something.
Yeah. You can look it up now on the internet if people want to check it out. Aleister Crowley blames Helena Blavatsky for Jack the Ripper murders.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, Nick. There's always an aspect of this that's magical to serial killing.
People were doing it for like a ritual or some sort of shit.
But when you look at like modern day serial killers, don't you get that same vibe? Like with Jeffrey, he said, I want to build an altar out of the bones. I want to build an altar with the skulls and the bones, and he was like, I'll paint it black, and I'm going to turn this guy's skull into a lamp and like do all this stuff with it. And then he said he couldn't get charged up to like go murder people unless he watched The Exorcist Part 3 or some shit like that. And like he would wear yellow contacts and he would do all this. It's like, to me, there's a lot of ritualism.
But it's almost like, why does he need to get charged up? I thought you would, if you're a serial killer, you automatically just do it on the fly. I mean, like it's on drip, right? Like, you don't need to get charged up for it.
Like he should be juiced up and ready to go at all times. Like
you got, your to-do list, you got your honey-do list for the week, and you're like, crap, now I have to go do this. Well, let me put on The Exorcist.
Well, oh, go ahead, Brooke.
I was going to ask, have you guys seen the show The Hunting Party?
I have not.
Okay, so when you were talking about, potentially some big players involved, basically the premise of the show is it's about serial killers who either go to jail or get caught, and they're supposedly say they get the death penalty or go to jail, but really they're taken to this black CIA site where they run
Oh, fuck
testing on
off.
them, and they're not really dead. And long story short, it ties back to the attorney general who's actually running this site, and they're running tests on these serial killers, and somebody like
Fuck
explodes
you,
this
bro.
silo and they all escape, and then it's
Oh
up to
my
this like
God.
CIA Black Ops team to go procure them all, because they want to test their empathy. They want to test to see if they can cure them or fix them, or
Wow, they really thought
harness it.
outside the box on that one. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder where they got their fucking inspiration from. I don't. It's like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's just real life stuff. Like sometimes I watch a show and it's supposed to be like fantasy or whatever, and I'm like, dude, that's real. Like that Black Mirror shit. No, sorry, that's our reality right now. Like we're
Yep.
living in American Horror Story. This is all real. You know,
Well,
murderers, witches,
revelation of the method.
yeah,
They
all
gotta
of
show
it,
us. They
yeah.
gotta show us what the fuck they're doing anyway. So
Yeah. And actually I wanted to mention as one of the other serial killers that I want to talk about eventually with you guys is that dating game killer came out of Southern California as well in the 60s, also military background, and he was said to be he had like a genius IQ and shit. And he went on to study film under Roman Polanski.
shocker.
And he found his way onto the dating game show, one of the most popular shows on television back then. So you tell me there's not some type of connections with these fucking guys. The dating game killer murdered like 130 women. And he was friends with Roman Polanski. He's from Southern California. He was in the military, has a genius level IQ. He found his way onto the dating game show, and he won that round of the dating game. And it's like, that's why they made a movie about it on Netflix, because that girl refused to go out with him even after she picked him, because she said he gave me the creeps. That just goes to show you a woman's intuition. But that guy definitely checks all the boxes for Program to Kill.
And Randy Kraft, didn't he have a really high IQ as well, like 129?
Yeah.
Don't they always
Yeah.
have a really high IQ? Most serial
Usually.
killers have
I think-
really high IQ.
I think that's the that's what they look for. I think that's their preference. I think John Wayne Gacy was halfway retarded.
I think the
I can't
successful
believe-
ones have a high IQ.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's been a couple where I've been like, were you like the last pick? You know, like everybody else, you know, and it's like, oh, I have to pick one. Oh, I guess I'll take
Like Lisa
Gacy.
said, that's class D.
Class D.
Yeah, class
yeah,
D.
they were the last string.
Right. Yes. 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 There's
But it
been a
would
couple
be-
serial killers that have been like, how the fuck did you even murder anybody? You're so stupid.
It would be like studying apex predators, in that they are not necessarily killing for survival; they're killing just to kill. And the fact
Mhm.
that they are high IQ, that pretty much, I mean, I would think constitutes apex predation.
Apex predators.
Well, you know who else kind of fits this mold? I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but his name was Herb Baumeister. And he took a bunch of, he was gay serial killer that took a bunch of guys back to his house and said, you know, I'll give you some drinks and you can swim in my indoor swimming pool. And then he would drown him in the pool and do all kinds of weird stuff to him. William Ramsey actually talks about Herb Baumeister because he's another one that fits the Program to Kill model. And I'm pretty sure he has a military background. I'm not sure if he's from California. But he's said to be like genius level IQ type of guy. He was a family man, had kids. On the side was a gay serial killer. Like, where do they find these guys? Like, literally.
That's weird.
It's crazy.
Yeah. To Brooke's question, I think Brooke, prior to 1940s, I think if you were a serial killer, you were probably organic. But after that, I think you were astroturfed or had the high
Definitely.
potential to be. That's what I think.
Well, so government cheese anus killer is still alive, actually. He's on death row. If you want to write him a letter, tell him you know, tell him you listened to a rather interesting episode about him on a podcast and just wanted to know.
You got to
if
reference
he's a
him as the
CIA.
government cheese killer too.
Yeah. I heard you were the government cheese anus killer. Please let me know if you are CIA or Manchurian candidate. Thank you. And we'll see before the Grim Reaper comes for him on death row if he ever fesses up. He still says he has no memory of his crimes. Yeah, I mean that to me is really interesting. If that's true, and he has no memory of doing any of that, it's like, what type of deprogramming shit are you on that you just don't remember? And he will stand by that he just doesn't remember any of it.
So I find it crazy too that the most active period of serial killers in the U.S. is between 1970s and 1990s. Specifically, the 80s saw the highest number of active serial killers.
Yeah, I mean, I think were they?
Sorry. I think so.
And some of the most well-known serial killers operated during peak period: Bundy, Dahmer, Ramirez, Gacy, Kemper, all these guys. Crazy.
Don't forget
some
Eileen
research
Werner.
into
Had a lady in there.
Oh yeah, that's another one. The guy that like made lamps out of people's foreskins and shit.
Ed Gein, yeah.
They're supposed to be doing a Netflix documentary thing on that guy with the same guy that did Dahmer, Evan Peters. I think he's supposed to be playing Ed Gein in an upcoming. It's always like the ones that get sensationalized. Fucked. He is fucked, but
in my opinion, that guy's psyche is gone. Like from him being on American Horror Story to portraying all the characters he did on there, then Dahmer, now this. Yeah, man, that guy's cooked.
He probably is, but I just think there's got to be more to the story if they want to make a docuseries on Netflix about it. Just like the Menendez brothers, there's more to that story too. But
I mean, it's crazy. Like the 70s, you had 300 individuals, active serial killers, right?
Yeah.
The 80s was 250. And then by the 2010s, you were down to 50. And that's, I mean, of course, these numbers are, what they think they know, right?
But Bennett,
but what a decline. That's insane. Like, I mean, it just shows like what was happening.
I think
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
They mastered it and they moved on.
Yeah.
I mean, 100. I think the 60s were the training wheels. The 80s were like, boom, now we really got it. And then it was like, okay, now that we've mastered this, let's move on to a new, bigger and better things.
Shit, who knows? You could have gone to different countries too. Just saying.
Right.
That, and I think they've taken their sacrifices up to a whole new scale.
There you go. Different methods. Well done,
coming in with the mass murder, the Sandy Hook and Columbine. They could have also diverted their attention to these weird cult scenes. We got Waco. After the 80s, things started to look a little bit different, but the body count didn't change.
I was even going to say, I wonder if some of the serial killers have higher body counts near the end, but less of them.
And also, we got into 2 giant wars.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about body counts. I'm not saying our guys necessarily either.
How much of it has gone online and you don't know?
Yeah, right.
Shit.
Well, and we only know what the media tells us. So if it's not being reported, you wouldn't know unless you know where to look.
But
go ahead, Lisa.
No, just real quick. Sorry, Julia. I'm sorry about interrupting
You're
the
good.
whole entire episode. Just it's so exciting. The entire
yeah.
content is just so exciting.
I
I'm
love
sorry.
hearing what you have to say,
But-
Lisa. Go ahead.
But everything you said, how they all have military background, the commonality with the serial killers at this time frame all have commonality of being in the military. If we look at these mass murderers, especially some of the people that are involved with big shootings and what have you, they all were under surveillance of FBI. Every single one of them. So there is a commonality with some of these signatures that there's a thread, right? So it's almost like it has the signature that you're looking for in these serial killers or these mass murderers probably is behind the payroll.
You'll even see that thread run through the cults too. Oh, the FBI was watching. The FBI was watching.
Yeah.
Where are their pensions coming from?
Yes. Oh, Lisa, definitely. I mean, you nailed it. Where is the money? And like, some of the stuff.
And the meds they're all taking.
Well, they have a job, and then a lot of these feds end up going missing later, or committing suicide, or it's I don't know.
Yeah.
Uncanny.
Well, and it's like, how do they? If you really look back in time, it's like, how did they sustain their lifestyle? Because Jeffrey Dahmer was supposed to have worked at like a chocolate factory during the day and like had all this money to buy 5-gallon drums of acid, power tools, rent for his apartment, and do all these. He's working part-time at a fucking chocolate factory. He's taking dudes out to bars every single night. He's got money for drugs. He's got money for alcohol. It's like
the same thing with Columbine and all the guns at Columbine. It's like, how did those kids get those guns? You know what I mean? And all that ammo, no, it was given to them.
It has to be, right? It's like, where are they getting the fucking funds?
I don't know how truthful this is. I mean, I guess I'd have to ask somebody that was in the Vietnam War, but when you watch it portrayed on TV or in the movies, you see these people living in like mud huts, but yet they're like shooting helicopters down. How the fuck did you even get those weapons?
Right.
Someone gave it to them. Obviously, if that's the case, somebody funded these people too.
Who's funding?
I mean, all you do is you drop off a crate of fucking shit. Somebody's going to start touching with it and playing with it. You just have a helicopter, just drop it in the village. There you go. Have fun.
Right. Or, I mean, it's like, do you guys ever remember Ted Bundy ever having a job ever? Like, did it ever say he worked part-time at Wendy's? He shined shoes at a train station. Like, did he ever have a fucking job ever? But he's able to buy train and plane tickets to Florida. He's able to live in multiple areas of the U.S., Florida, Oregon, Washington, Colorado. He's always on the move. He's always staying at luxury hotels and shit.
Well, there's that theory about him that he came from the family, that Bundy family, which is a well-known American Illuminati bloodline, so to say.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say his dad was
Mm.
definitely military.
So maybe he did come from that bloodline and they were just well-to-do, but still getting funded,
Somebody's funding this shit. Somebody's giving them stuff. I mean, the second I see a Netflix movie or documentary pop up about a serial killer, I immediately want to start looking into them, because it's like, oh, this is one of yours, right? This is one of the. It's like it kind of makes me want to look at Scott Peterson. It kind of makes me want to look at, I talked to JJ about OJ, and I learned a lot of interesting information, because it's like these ones that get propped up. Please, for the love of God, look into them, because you will find stuff that will rock your fucking world. It will make you look at everything differently. And it's like they got Zac Efron to play Ted Bundy. Like, really? Like, one of the sexiest guys of all time. So you fantasize about him?
It's weird.
Like,
he did a pretty good job too.
Like, what?
I
He did,
noticed
but
that.
it's like there's like a sexualization to it, though, right? Like, why would you pick such a handsome man to put? And it was
it Bundy supposed to be like handsome or whatever, like
Not
for
like
that
Zac
era
Efron.
or whatever, like
he wouldn't know Zac Efron.
You know, it was weird though. Like now, when you want to get into like the true crime and nowadays, you had like supposedly mad crazy chicks were going nuts for fucking the kid from Idaho 4, and it's like, yo, that dude was like fucking fucked up looking. Like,
Well,
he
and I
looked
think
There were people who said one of the Columbine was attractive. Am I wrong about that?
Oh,
it could
God.
just be like people who are attracted to sick fucks.
And I think like we've
What
just
it really means is that's just humanity's at that point right now. There's women who get off on sick.
Right.
and it's just we've become so desensitized. And I think I used to be really big into the true crime. I used to love listening to true crime podcasts. And I think I just got to this point where I'm like, I just can't consume it as much anymore, looking into such a dark psyche like that. And it's like, you're right. All of these crime shows are so mass produced. These documentaries, and people like drool over it and fiend over it. And it's kind of, I've gotten to a point now where I'm kind of disgusted by it. Like how people get so excited over I know who you're talking about, the guy who killed his family. I think, can't remember his name, and then he had that girlfriend on the side and he literally killed his baby girls in the oil fields. Chris Watts or something.
Chris
Watts.
He's another one of those
It's
guys
Chris
that
Watts, yeah.
women go crazy over. And I just think that the way that true crime is pushed out in this murder and just all this it's just gross how
It's
much
almost like when you started,
put.
Julie. They idolize it.
Yes, it idolizes it. And to me, like, I'm with Brooke because
Kraft
I
keys,
used
fuckers.
to I used to watch the crime shows. I used to listen to Crime Junkies podcast. I used to listen to there was a girl that I used to follow on YouTube that would do her makeup and like talk about serial killers and shit. She was real cute. But the problem is like, and I don't want to sound like I'm better than anyone, but it's like, you're not giving people the full truth when you talk about this stuff if you're not going to mention that these are most likely by design murderers who have been turned against their own people and created by secret military programs. I mean, it's like you're sensationalizing the death part and the murder part and the killer part, but you're not talking about where they came from or why they even exist. Because until like the 60s, nobody was worried about, hey, did you make sure the front door is locked? We don't want fucking Richard Ramirez to come in here and rape grandma. Like, nobody was talking about that. So, I mean, if you're going to get into the true crime, you have to back it up with where it potentially came from, the whole serial killer movement. Much like the Laurel Canyon, it's a setup. And we've fallen for it totally.
Yeah.
And how much money it has generated as a genre.
Yes.
Yeah. Just the books.
Yes.
the author,
and energy.
Oh,
Mhm.
energy.
Yeah.
There's I've even mentioned this with
That's mainly what it's about.
with Lisa, just talking about the podcast in general, just like sometimes like either the show not going through so much growing pains, but maybe like me deciding like what do I really want to do? What do I enjoy doing? And I had said at one point, even with the true crime, I said it's almost like uncomfortable because it's like you are kind of like pimping out like real fucked up shit. And like at one point, and I was like, and at one point, like when the show first started, that was a different co-host that I had, and they were very much geared to like always covering pedophilia shit. Very like hashtag save the children type dude. And even that shit was starting to get to me because I was like, yo, this is just like fucking like something like, it's like, yo, like I'm not for nothing, but I was just like putting this shit out. I'm gonna fucking break the internet and stop it from happening. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. Just after a while, it's like this is just weird. And just that true crime, it's just like I kind of wanted. I mean, I know we're doing a true crime now, but like if people were to kind of look at how the show was in the beginning, you definitely see that it definitely changed with that. I think it was like a little too much. I just looked at it as kind of like a little weird. And I just hate. I'm going to be totally honest with you, people that are huge into both. I'm just throwing it out there, very cult minded, and that's sort of get me weirded out too. Just to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's good to take it in small doses. That's why, my show is not mainly about true crime or the parapolitical realm. But I still, I produce a show every Tuesday that dives into, Mark Dutroux and the process and Temple of, so I get my fill of all that stuff. But yeah, I feel you on just like the constant consuming of it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't talk about it like that either.
Well, even for me. I was just like, even for the whole thing of the show, it's like I'm not trying to actually peddle fear. I'm actually trying to peddle, like, not so much knowledge, but information. And it's like all I'm doing is just handing fear and hate to my listeners when I cover that stuff over and over and over again.
For me, I think the problem with presenting it in certain ways is that it's like Nick is and Jules was saying, it can almost drain you to a certain degree if you present it in certain ways.
Yeah.
I like to present it in a way that I would feel like is more empowering to the listener. Like, can you believe they've ran this program on us? Can you believe the connections between these guys? This isn't on accident.
Yeah.
There's not random crazy people that are going to
Not
come
so
and kill you and your
black-pilling.
kids. Right.
Yeah.
It's like they are running game on us, and we need to wake up to the fact that there is not random serial killers in your neighborhood that are going to come and kill you in your fucking house with your kids. There's just,
Unless they're sent there.
But you look at the victims, most of the time they're chosen for a reason. Even
Right.
with the Manson murders, Sharon Tate and all those people were chosen for a reason, and it's like,
Yeah, that was a sacrifice right there, because wasn't Polanski shooting Rosemary's Baby at the time? Yeah,
but
there was something
for
there.
me,
I think.
I was just gonna say, for me, I think it's empowering to talk about the programmed aspect of it, because at the end of the day, there are serial killers. Sure, most of them are fucking psychos that have been ran through some kind of a program. A lot of this stuff is staged, even.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is.
A lot of stuff is, numbers are inflated. Stuff there's crisis actors. There's, so when I talk about it, I like to come at it from an angle of, yes, this stuff is real. It's not what you think it is. You got to look behind the scenes. Most of these people are connected. And just be weary when you see something in the news, when you see a Netflix documentary, when you see something like this. You have to look in the background, because when you do, it almost makes you feel better. Like, oh shit, this is all like staged, scripted. This is programmed. This is, it gives you back the discernment of, is this scary or not? And most of the time it's not, because it's like, oh, it's another fucking CIA program. Thanks, guys. Fuck you. Yeah. I mean,
It's always those guys.
right.
even like the last thing that I think that this show even covered, like true crime, like me and Lisa covered the Zizians. And when we covered that, I think we might have spent a total of like 4 minutes actually talking about what the fuck they did. And the whole other 2 hours was actually their connections all through AI and weird to actually show there's something that created this.
Yeah.
See?
The funding, how it was being propped up potentially. And all
Yeah,
that
it is a
stuff.
little bit different too in the way you cover it. That way I'm a little bit more comfortable, but some people just, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
different.
And I love
Yeah,
the way
I
Julia
mean-
covers it. I absolutely love it. Like it's very,
That's why I have her do it all the time now.
yeah, in that it's in depth, but it's not it's not heavy for sure.
Yeah.
And I know, like, the reason that I was very into true crime, and I still am, I'll admit it, is that I have a hyper analytical brain, that if it's not over analyzing and piecing and tearing apart things and putting them back together, I tend to go mad a little bit. And so that kind of serves as an outlet, as a puzzle. Like, oh, there's this puzzle that my brain can kind of work on in the background. But then when we started covering the smiley face killers and seeing how all of it was contrived, and how multiple areas where there were coroners or medical examiners not even investigating the case, I was like, this isn't even a real investigation. You start to lose, my brain started to lose the ability to want to piece it all together, because the evidence that was being presented was manufactured almost. So yeah, it definitely everything you said, Julia, 100% agree.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad you can see it the same way too, because I think there's a lot of power in just knowledge. Like, make yourself aware of simple explanations for things. Don't make it like a crazy bunch of killers out there and you never know when one's going to strike, or if you're going to be like, yeah, I get it. There is crime. There are real rapists. There are real psychos out there. But the ones that get their own Hulu special, I mean, the ones that you check
I
in
think
your
those are
front
for
door
sure
to make
fake.
sure it's locked. It's
I think those are all for sure fake. I think those are ways that they still drain and make money off of the fucking thing.
it's part of the theater.
Yeah.
Just like politics are part of the theater, right? Just like assassination attempts can be part of the theater. Just like, I mean, it's all part of the theater. Just like as we were talking about with Lee Harvey Oswald a little bit ago, how he knew one of these serial killers, Patrick Kearney, and like we all know what happened with JFK and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, it's all part of the show. They all know each other. They all probably fucking hang out. This is not an accident. And when you know shit like that, you start to feel better about like, okay, they're doing this intentionally to terrify people. And how about fuck you?
Mine is if my notes say butthole socks in it, it's a good freaking episode.
Yes. I mean, the
Just
next time you see a body on the side of the road, make sure you check their beehole for a sock, because Randy Kraft is still alive and he could very easily escape prison and murder someone near you.
Wow.
All right. I guess
You realize that's the title of this episode, right? Beehole socks.
I should have
It
changed
has to be it.
It's a good title.
Yeah.
Very-
Randy
very
Kraft,
fitting.
government cheese beehole
Beehole
sock
socks.
killer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh damn. All right. Well, thank you very much, Julia. That was awesome as usual. That's why I always love having you on for these. Let everybody know where they can find all your amazing stuff again, please.
Thanks, Nick. And thanks. I absolutely loved tonight's show and everybody that was a part of the conversation. Matthew McConaughey, Bennett with his ASMR voice, Brooke, amazing, Lisa, always insightful, loved every minute of it. I have my own show. It's called Cosmic Peach Podcast, and it's available wherever you listen to podcasts. And I am an occult reject part-time. Have a show once a week on the Cult of Conspiracy that you can check out on Saturdays. And yeah, I just I like having a good time working with people, having these type of conversations. It's fun and entertaining, but also informational. And thanks for having me.
Definitely. No, thank you for presenting it. I appreciate it. You know what? I'll let the other rejects real quick plug themselves as well. We'll go with Jules real quick. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Guys, another banger of a show. Nick, I appreciate you making me a part of this panel. Hopefully I can come on for more.
Yes.
Guys, y'all can find me on Twitter, X, whatever, at Greypilled Pod, Instagram, Greypilled_podcast. I'm on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all that good stuff. Locals and Patreon. You can support me over there. Get a free sticker pack. All the Elohim etymologies go there. They drop there for a week before they're released to the public. We do esoteric book reviews every Saturday morning with Subliminal Messenger. Now Season of the Rat is joining us, and those are Patreon exclusive, as well as the Twin Peaks watch party that we are doing right now, which may commence tonight. If not, here in the next couple nights, I will let y'all know. But yeah, patreon.com/Greypilled podcast. And we got Nephilim Death Squad coming on tomorrow at 1:30 Central, everyone. So y'all tune in. And then I think Friday night, Nick, I think we're going on with Sunday Night Secret Society, Hank and Chef. So it's going to be a banger of a swap cast. We'll have a bunch of people in there, so y'all come hang out for that as well. And go check out our episode of Already Dead last night, if you haven't yet. Another banger. So
Awesome.
Appreciate you guys. It's an awesome show.
Thank you very much for joining us, Jules. Appreciate it. And Bennett, sir.
So thanks for having me on, guys. It was great. It was so much fun. Beeholes and all.
Socks and all.
You can find me at the Broadcasting Seeds podcast, broadcastingseeds.com, or all the lovely, podcast players of your choice.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Sir.
I followed you over there, by the way, Bennett.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
And Brooke,
ASMR bedtime stories with Bennett.
Hey, I'm always looking to do another podcast. So
there you go.
as if I don't do enough.
And go ahead, Brooke, please let everybody know where they can find your amazing show.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for having me on. And thank you, Julia, for presenting the topic. I think you showed us tonight that the web is so much wider than we thought, and it goes deep. But thank you again for having me on. You can find my show, Dark Florida, wherever you get your podcast, and interact over on Instagram at Dark Florida Podcast.
Thank you very much, Brooke. I always appreciate you coming on the show. And last but not least, Lisa, the Occult Reject Mad Scientist. What is going on?
Thank you for inviting me, Julia. Amazing presentation, always. And I know that I want to do more serial killers with you. I'm sorry, I'm just going to come out and say it. I love the way you cover them. I love discussing them with you. I would like for this entire panel to stay exactly the same when we discuss another serial killer, please.
All right.
And so just gonna put that out there. Thank you, everyone. I very much enjoyed the discussion. And the only thing I would like to plug is the occultresearchinstitute.org, where some of the rejects have contributed in a literary form content to things that have been discussed on the podcast or not, but it supplies a lot of information, esoteric, exoteric, what have you. But please check us out there on occultresearchinstitute.org.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Lisa. And thank you, everybody, again on the panel. That was awesome. I had a great chat. And thank you for everybody in the chat as well. That's what's up. I saw a lot of people there in the YouTube chat from the beginning to end. I appreciate that. That's why we go live. And until the next one, everybody be well. A little later.